Hey Thomas, how are you?
Jonathan, I'm doing good. I'm wearing my colors of the New York Mets. Pete
Yep.
Alonso, the polar bear, put himself in the Mets New York sports history last night. So, you know what? Finally, it's probably not going to be a Met next year, but hey, I'm cool with it. Now we're going to Philly. Here we come.
Awesome. Yeah, great game.
Hey, listen, we got a lot of stuff on the plate here today. All right. One thing I want to go over, Dave Ramsey. Let's pull that one up. He's the
Yep.
finance guru. He got to sit down with Trump um, and do a 45-minute interview. So basically, he also invited Harris. Harris has not even responded. Okay, so Trump took the invitation. Trump's taken everybody's invitation, seemingly. And a matter of fact, Trump tonight in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Excuse me, is it tonight? No, tomorrow is having a town hall meeting in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So that should be very interesting. But anyway, when he sat down with Dave Ramsey, Trump has a bold plan to save the economy if he wins next month's election. And he outlined it. Dave Ramsey was very leery of, Trump's, ideas and stuff like this because of inflation. But the way Trump laid it out, Trump said, I wish he could, come up with another term. But the bottom line is drill, baby, drill. He knows the energy is our number one commodity. And it's actually, Trump said he can cut inflation by 50%. I don't think that can happen, but he can drop inflation and he can halt the stagflation if he gets in. If Harris gets in, it's going to be like the 70s, 50 years ago, where it's going to be inflation, stagflation for a 10-year period, and it's not going to be healthy. All right. You want to add a little bit of, any things here with the Dave Ramsey interview at all?
Yeah, well, I think it's important for us to actually. I'll put the links in the video because it's important for everyone to read these. I mean, you can Google it yourself as well, but it's important to read what's going on and what's out there and what we can potentially be looking for from both candidates. I think the big issue is that you're hearing it from Trump, whereas with Kamala, you got to pull it from her, and she still doesn't tell you what's going on or what she's planning to do.
Exactly. 100%, 100%. And this morning, we actually had the job reports come out. All right. It was better than expected. You can pull up that one from CNBC. U.S. job creations totaled 254,000 in September, much better than expected. Now, here's the point. As we always go over this, we have to look at the breakdown. The breakdown is this: 69,000 of those jobs were in the hospitality and restaurant industry. Healthcare, which is a consistent leader in job growth, contributed 45,000. Government jobs grew by 31,000. And also social assistant jobs were 27,000. Construction was 25,000. Now, these aren't full time jobs, these could be part time jobs. Now, what's interesting, I looked at the U6 report. Um, Unemployment is at 8%. However, the way they're reporting it today, it's fell to 4.1%. And if you recall, the U6 report is the true report. The government goes off the U3 report, which is a very fabricated, manipulated report. But the markets are doing well today, and I actually heard today on CNBC that Mark Zuckerberg has made this year alone 78 billion with the B billion dollars. Okay, meaning his shares in the company of Meta slash Facebook. So people got to realize he's not really going to be paying much taxes because just like Elon Musk, they actually get loans from the companies like a credit, from banks, I should say. Hey, listen, we'll give you X amount. You need 20 million, 40 million, 50 million, 100 million. No problem. We'll do that. But they don't have to pay tax on that money from the bank because it's like, they're loaning against their stock valuation. So people have to understand that, hey, tax the rich, tax the rich. That's a bunch of bullshit when it comes down to it, because all these big players like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Zuckerberg know how to play the game. But let's get back on track. So we're looking at these jobs at 254,000. And we see that, a lot of them aren't real jobs. What Trump has said with Dave Ramsey, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill, those are real jobs. And what's going to be the domino effect after that will actually be real jobs as well. Your thoughts, Jonathan?
Listen, we have to. It's important that we're telling people where to look, because if you just look at what the news is telling us, it's not going to be the full report. We can't look at all the part timers. We can't look at all the different outside influences. We have to look at the actual numbers of real jobs. Because that again, more people working and more people working at higher wages. That's what's going to help this country go forward. We
And
can't.
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because household incomes have gone down since 1919. So has people's savings account gone down. And like you've pointed out in the past, people depleting their savings just to pay bills and make ends meet, correct?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the biggest thing that I think people need to continue to do is just look at themselves, look at their own lives, look at that part. Forget about what people say, right? People like, oh, everything's doing great. The economy is great. Unemployment is great. All the numbers are going in the right direction. Take that, put it aside, and then look at your own life, right? How are
Mhm.
you doing? How is your bank? How is your wallet? How is your way of life right now? Are you pinching
Great,
and
great, great way to look at it, Jonathan. That's the way to put it. Yes,
yeah,
100%.
so
100%. You know, um, you know, again, this is Trump versus Harris, logic versus emotions. This is round seven. Okay, I know we missed last week because of the storm that I was affected in. However, we're back on track today, so we want to look at the logic of things. Now, let's go to the next article. Pennsylvania seniors could cost Kamala Harris the election as they trust Trump more on the economy, and the polls are showing this. Now, who's doing this poll? AARP. Trump leads among voters 50 and older by a whopping 8 points in the state, 52% to 44%. All these voters signal that they are very motivated to cast ballots in the election. Now, Pennsylvania is very important. Pennsylvania is a swing state, but it's bringing 19 electoral votes. All right, that's what you got. Trump was actually leading that state of Pennsylvania in 2020 at 1 o'clock or 1:30 in the morning. And he was leading by over 100,000 votes. And then when we wake up in the morning, Joe Biden won the state because of mail-in ballots. Okay, so we got to make sure this game's not being played. Everybody's got to get out there and vote. Vote, vote, vote. And
every
that's what
vote
you have
matters.
to do. Don't take these polls. Trump, even if he's leading the polls, get out there, bring friends with you to go vote. And that's what you have to do. Jonathan.
I don't like any of the polls. I feel like the polls are just used to manipulate people and how they think. Oh, he's leading by so much, I don't have to go. Or, he's so far behind, it's not worth my time. I don't like any of it. I think everyone just has to do their right, do what they want, and go out there and vote. Go in person if you could, and you make the difference, right? That's why we're all citizens here.
Jonathan, you're right. I mean, these polls, listen, Trump wasn't leading in the polls in 2016. He wasn't leading in 2020. And, they have him leading in some of the polls now. I wouldn't trust the polls either. You're 100% correct, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there are doing their own polls. It's almost like hand lotion given to the people. All right, let's go to the next article. Last night, MSNBC host is stunned after key Donald Trump impeachment witness Gordon Sondland, ex-president. Now, Sondland's a big hotel wealthy magnate. He was a mega donor to the Republican Party, and he was one of Trump's ambassadors to the European Union. And the part of the impeachment that he was involved in was the second one, where it was a bunch of nonsense with the Ukrainian, saying the guy who was a soldier in the U.S., he was also a Ukrainian nationalist. He lied and bullshitted, and that was proven by congressional hearings 2 years ago. But basically, the host, Ari Melber, was totally stunned when Gordon had made these comments to support Trump. But he had said, I've now lived 4 years under the Biden-Harris policies, and I have to say those policies are not only becoming an essential threat to our country and way of life, but to our allies as well. So, your thoughts on this, Jonathan?
I mean, it's so it goes back to, I mean, you don't have to know a lot about politics. Just think of the common sense of how everything is.
Mm-hmm.
People are, I keep hearing on the news, like on Fox or on CNN, they bring people in, Congress people or senators, and they'll start talking about how we're under Trump, we were insulting our allies and, making, more enemies than friends. But again, look at it. Under Trump, we didn't have, the Ukrainian war. We didn't have the Israeli-Palestinian war. We didn't have all these things going off, catastrophes happening with different countries. Under this, look what we have right now. These last few years, Ukraine gets invaded, the everything with Israel that happened in October of last year. So I don't understand how people can think that we're better off now in the
Mm-hmm.
global world than we were, 4+ years ago. It's just doesn't make a lot of sense. They try and say that we were being friends with Ukraine, with Russia, we were being friends with North Korea, and we were, you know, all of this. But all I see is that again, look at what's going on in the world today. We see missiles being launched from one place, from Iran to Israel, and Russia still pushing forward and whatever it may be. So we're not better off now. We just aren't.
Oh, listen, Stevie Wonder can see that we're not better off right now. Okay, that's really the bottom line. And let's go to Kamala Harris's backyard. Let's go to the next article. Jack Smith, okay, it was opened up, his further indictments against Donald Trump. He's got to pop this, weeks before the election, all right? And basically, this article's from CNN. Many of the tactics Jack Smith accused Trump of using to overturn the 2020 election are still in play for 2024. This is total weaponization of the United States justice system. If you look at the logo for the justice systems, it's basically Lady Justice. She's blindfolded and she's holding the scales of justice. There is no scales of justice here. This is totally weaponization. This is pure communism. What they're going after the people that they don't want in office. And that's what Georgia did. That's what Letitia James did. That's what Alan Bragg did. This is what Jack Smith is doing. These people need to be disbarred. And when it's all said and done, they probably need to be shoved in jail for the rest of their lives on top of it. Your thoughts on this, Jonathan?
Listen, I mean, I don't think it's ever happened before where you just constantly were going after. They went after. They impeached him before he was out of office to try and get him so he can't go back in. They had all these different charges against him. Uh, Again, we should have free everything, right? Free elections, no interference. They did it a certain way to purposely cause an issue for him, but if you remember when you were looking at him in court, I think it was over the summer, all of his numbers actually went up because it's so crystal clear to everyone that what they're doing is not right.
Mm-hmm. No, you're 100% correct. Now you got Liz Cheney, who's campaigning for Harris, all right, and her father, Dick Cheney, the former vice president under Bush #2, and he was also in Bush one's cabinet. He is a neocon. Everybody on the Democratic side 20 years ago thought he was Mr. Evil, okay? Was Dick Cheney. Now they're all rallying around him. This goes to show you the manipulation. They're all in bed together. The Democratic Party, even some Republicans, they're all in bed together with these neocons because it's the New World Order agenda, Agenda 2030. They're so determined to get this through, and they got to make sure the U.S. is on track so it doesn't get derailed because it got derailed on January 17 when Trump was sworn in. Your thoughts on that, Jonathan?
I mean, again, it's you're looking at all the politicians, all the high, the people that you see everywhere. It's all interconnected. Everyone has their place, and Trump just is not one of them. So they fear Trump and what he does and what he stands for more than anything else. And it's quite amazing how much they hate this guy who did so much for the country. And again, I'm sure a lot of people will comment and say that, he was terrible. He did this, he did that. He was terrible with the COVID response and all that. But if you really look at what he did versus what we got right now,
Mhm.
you'll see it's a huge difference. And look at the
Yeah.
facts. Look, that's all.
And you know what? You're 100% correct when you say look at the facts. Trump is a constant, he believes in America. He loves this country. Harris doesn't love this country. Democrats don't love this country because the Democrats today are Marxist, okay? If you're an old school Democrat, I can respect that. But if you're on this new train Democrat, I can't respect that. All this stuff that's happened with Helene, this tropical storm that's affected Florida all the way up to the eastern mountains of Kentucky and everything in between. FEMA doesn't have enough money to dish out. They're giving people $700 checks. $700 checks they're giving them. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, they're putting all the immigrants up in big hotels. They're giving them, $4,000. They're giving them cell phones. They've wasted over $1 billion the last 2 years alone. And you figure the last three and a half, how much money they put into it. We need to take care of our own people, okay? If you have family, you're going to take care of your family, your children, before you take care of your neighbors. This country needs to take care of their people. Washington, wake up, all right? Take care of your own citizens. Forget about these illegal immigrants. Close off the borders. We got a major catastrophe right now. And it's a disaster what's happened,
We
okay? And it's
saw
very unfortunate.
we see it right now. What just happened in the South. We saw what happened in Hawaii, in Maui last year. Same thing. They were giving them, I think, $750.
Yeah,
What they're giving right now to the people down south, based on what they have. There's no money to take care of them, and yet we're sending, billions upon billions overseas. Makes
that
no
is
sense.
correct.
We don't take care of our own.
100%. 100%. Let's go to the next article from CNN. Obama and Michelle will launch a campaign push over a 27-day period to push for Harris across key battleground states. Okay. So here they go. They're going to put on their little dog and pony show and do what they can do to get her elected. So hey, listen, a lot of people feel that Obama still lives in Washington, D.C., and he's pulling the strings behind the curtain, which is possible. I'm not going to say that's confirmed, but these are people's theories. Now, tomorrow, in actually in Butler, Pennsylvania, where almost 3 months ago that President Trump, the assassination attempt on him, Elon Musk will join Trump in Butler, PA on Saturday. And also JD Vance will be there as well, too. So, 30 minutes after the shooting uh, of the assassination attempt on Trump, Elon Musk endorsed Trump. He never endorsed him before, but 30 minutes later he did, and that's what ended up happening. By the way, just to correct myself, tonight's the town hall meeting in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I had said it's going to be tomorrow. It's actually tonight because I forgot he's going to Butler tomorrow. So this is what's happened. Everything that Jonathan and I are laying out in front of you, we're looking at, a major presidential election, very important right now because it could be for the Constitution or it could be for the introduction of bringing Marxism into America. And people they say, oh, you're full of shit. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, Marxism. You know what? I know history. And this is actually following the path of what Vladimir Lenin did. Stalin took the baton, ran with it. Mao did it, and Hitler did it, okay? And so did the leader in Chile do it in the late 60s and 70s. All right, this is what's happening. This is what's going down. If the Democrats get hold of the Congress, the White House, and the Senate, it's done with. We are finished, okay? You're going to see censorship happen. People say, oh, well, people can't speak their mind the way they do. Bullshit. Freedom of speech. That's our number one, in the Constitution. I don't care. If I don't like what you're saying, I'm still going to let you speak. You have a right to it. But you're going to shut us down and make us criminals if we speak out, what they're doing in England and other parts of European Union? That's wrong. That's totally wrong. Your thoughts, Jonathan, on the closing remarks.
Listen, that's the biggest part. I mean, we all should have the right to speak, right to, hear people out. And that's how we move forward, right? I mean, in a way, you don't want everyone having the same exact opinion because you want to be able to speak your mind and work through it. And
Mhm.
when you shut people out, then you cause a whole nother piece of issue that can happen later on. So that whole thing scared me for the last few years, and that's why when Elon bought Twitter, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing for public speaking because people can now say whatever they want, uh, and have the ability to do that. Where before, we heard that Meta and Facebook people were putting things on there and they were getting like Trump's account got suspended for what 5 years or whatever it was, 4 years. Um, Still is suspended probably. I don't know, but.
No,
Uh,
he was actually allowed. He did come back on Twitter there a few months ago.
Elon brought him, made him back,
Correct.
but I'm not sure what happened, if anything happened with Facebook. But the whole thing is scary, right? I mean, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter until it affects you, is what happens, right? And that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, no. Jonathan, you're right. You listen, we laid out a lot of information today. Make sure you put all the links down in our
Yeah,
video. Everybody, this has been round seven. We're a little over 4 weeks from the presidential election. Please share this video with other people, even if they differ in your opinion or they share the same opinion, share it with them. Share it with everybody. We want people to know, the thoughts of what's coming out there, what's happening in today's scene. Listen, thumbs up, all right? Give us the likes, subscribe if you have, please share. And you know what? Let's go Mets this weekend against Philly, baby. Here we go. Have a great one. Take care.
care everyone.